All right, today I'm going to take apart an Aerosmith, no, not Aerosmith, an AirOSwiss, an AirOSwiss Advanced Air Treatment System, a humidifier basically. It's ultrasonic, model AOS U7142. I'm taking it apart because it leaks, and I want to know why. All right, so first let me show you the inerts. Those are the insides. Now flip it over, and it's leaking from, looks like here. So I got to figure out how to take this apart. And we'll flip it over on the bench like this, and there are very specific screws actually. Let me bring that in. It's a strange, it's like a star head, but there's an indentation there. So I don't think any of these bits are going to work. But what I can do is have a little jeweler's screwdriver that I can fit on the sides and give it a turn. All right, so now that it's on the bench, we're going to remove this screw, this screw, this screw, and maybe these two screws. I'm not sure yet, but we'll take them out anyway. And I'll use this little jeweler screwdriver because that's going to fit around that dimple in order to get them out. And once I've gotten them out, I'll come back. One thing I like to do when I'm taking something apart is draw a diagram and leave the screws where they came out of so that I know which holes to put them back in. I find that screws tend to fit best in the holes that they came out of. Let's take this sucker apart. So now I've removed the screws, and I'm going to lean this forward. There are a lot of electronics in here, so I don't want to damage those, and I don't feel like disconnecting them. To get the bottom off, just take the little flathead screwdriver and you can pry this up. And it should come up. Maybe. There we go. And give you a look at what's happening inside. If I scroll in, you can see there's a lot of water and rust coming from somewhere. And it looks like it's coming from the little ionizer area. So there's a lot of water leaking from there, which accounts for the rust. Let's figure out how to get to it. So there's a lot going on here. Again, it looks like the leak is coming from somewhere in here. There are 4 screws here that will allow me to remove the disc area, which is the ionizer. Just keep in mind there are a lot of things happening here. There's a hose clamp here, a hose clamp here, and a hose clamp here. I want to make sure that they're all properly seated when I put the unit back together. It doesn't appear that there's any water leaking from those hoses, so my guess is it's coming from in here. I'm going to remove this screw, this screw, this screw, and this screw, and then I'll flip it over and we can have a look to see what's happening there. All right, so I'm removing the last of these 4 screws. I'm using a magnetic screwdriver so that I don't drop the pieces down there. And the screws are a little rusty, so I'm wondering if possibly some water could have been leaking out of there if the seal was broken. This is what the screws look like that I just took out. Now we'll turn this piece over. And it was leaking a while back, and one of the things that I did was I put a little caulk in there over these holes to make sure that they were properly sealed. So I screwed them in with caulk, so that's why this is going to be a little sticky. I'll flip it over, see what's going on here. And there's a rubber gasket that goes here. If I remove this rubber gasket, I remember. So I caulked this a while back and it held up for quite a while. But if I remove this and show you underneath the caulk, what has happened is you'll see that this disc has cracked around the edges. and that's going to account for why I've got a leak. So I put some caulk on each of the holes, and I caulked around this broken ionizer ring to keep the water from leaking, and it actually held up pretty good for quite a while, and then I think the caulk probably wore down. So I'm going to retreat that, and then I'll put it all back together, just in the opposite way that I took it apart. Hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching.